Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Performance E Streaming. It is me, Mr. Carl Wilkinson, with the up here in the booth with Mr. Mark Johansson. We are here at Daytona for round one of the 2024 Cup Series. Yes, we are back, and we are in the Cup cars for something a little bit different here tonight. A start of a new era, so to say, in the Aussie sim racing side of the NASCAR part of the racing. We are going to be racing for 80 laps here tonight at Daytona. Of course, the famous super speedway, always going to bring us some incredible racing. Looking at the track temperature, we are 27 degrees, 26 degrees air temperature, but most importantly for tonight, we do have the stage system in place. Yes, we are running stage racing for the first time here, and it is going to be exciting for sure.
Yeah, most definitely is. It's going to be a great way to kick off a season with stage racing being introduced. And the interesting thing, Carl, is that with the stage racing, the pit lane will close 2 laps prior to the stage ending, so there will be no one allowed in pit lane in that period.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to really shake things up, and it will make it interesting for the drivers for strategic racing, of course, because you can sort of come in here and not lose a lap. So you might see some drivers pitting just before the stage, trying to get themselves in a position where they can get track position in the race. Let's look at the starting grid for tonight's race here. And taking pole position tonight in the first round of the Cup Championship, it's Shane Bowen for Cobalt Racing. He's got Chris Ireland on his outside for DPR. On row number 2, it's Ruben Phelps for SRM, with Norman Clark returning in 4th position in the second row of the grid. JCW Joshua Carroll-Walden lines up next to Dave Douglas on row number 3. Row number 4, we've got Stevie Dubb and Andrew Dyson. Row number 5 is Brian Jones with Ben Henniker. Row number 6 sees Gary Wellman and Maxie Marshall lining up next to each other. On row 7, it's Mr. Matty Hunter out from behind the cameras into the car with Riley Curtis. Row number 8 is Roger Clark with Nick Bauer in 12th position. First time in the Cup Series, first time in ANZCAR for him, so hopefully it will be a decent run for himself. Martin Pedersen is coming out tonight as well with Hayden Dew. Good result for them, both starting on the 9th row of the grid tonight. Row number 10 sees Sean Durkee with Brad Fenley. Row number 11, we've got Cade Donnelly with Maddie Ray. Row 12, returning Brenton Henderson, coming back from his training in the Australian military with Lachlan Quio, and Noddy Tompkins rounds out our grid tonight. 25 cars out here, Mark. We should be in for some great racing.
Yeah, definitely some great racing to start off, and what a great way to start the series for young Shane Bowen. We've seen him through the truck season come on strong towards the end, and then through the Xfinity season, very strong performances, and he's carried it over now into the Cup cars with a pole.
Yeah, absolutely. Been knocking on that win for a while, Shane Bowen, and could tonight be it. Of course, Super Speedway starting from pole position, not always the best place to be, but it can avoid those wrecks in the early running, of course. That can be crucial.
Just before we go green, it doesn't look like Brendan Henderson's been able to make the start, so we actually have 24 cars taking the green flag tonight.
That is a shame. Hopefully can get out there before it loses too many laps. The pace car will be pulling in very, very shortly, and we will be going live for this race 1 of the Cup season for 2024. They're coming up to the start-finish line, and I'm going to shut up so we can enjoy these cars roaring away. First lap's complete. Ruben Phelps up in the lead with Shane Bowen on the low line. We've got JCW just behind and pushing along. The front row's pretty split up at the moment. It looks like Ruben's dropping back here. He's got himself a bonus point for a lap led, and it looks like he's going to fall back to the mid-pack or even the back of the line here and get himself in a decent position. We see one of the cars in the mid-pack just getting a little bit wobbly there, almost going below the line. Managed to hold it there. I think that was Nick Bauer. Sorry, not Nick Bauer. Martin... No, Hayden Dew, sorry. New paint schemes throwing me out already.
They do that to us. They will come into another season with different paint schemes. I know Dave Douglas has got in a different one. The only one that's only team that's retained their faithful paint schemes is the SRM boys.
DPR and Atari pretty much in their usual schemes, so not too bad. And Dave Douglas in the A1 Sim Sport, so it's not too bad. Of course, Cobalt Racing too, but some new faces on the track as well. That always throws me out.
Yeah, that battle there up the front. We've got Dave Douglas giving Ryan Jones a big push, a big hurry up. Just a little bit loose there for Jones mid corner. Just a bump in the wrong time from Dave Douglas. But this is really starting to heat up. You still see those two out front, Bowen and JCW, but the rest are 2x2.
Yeah, some fairly big gaps actually. Nobody's really plugged themselves underneath. They're all being relatively cautious on the low line. A high line, that was getting a little bit spicy up there. We saw Ryan Jones having a bit of a wiggle, and then Dave Douglas as well as Chris Ireland just got connected to the rear bumper of that A1 car. So always a tricky game to play with bump drafting and pushing each other. I know Monday night we were in the Gen 4s and DPR were doing some practicing with the drafting there. Was working with Andrew Dyson and Neil Pearson for some of that, and getting a little bit of practice in, possibly for tonight, just to get the eye in for that real close running as you run on these super speedways. Absolutely nose to tail.
And just start looking at the chat. A big hello and welcome back to the land of civilization to Brad Allison. Welcome back, mate, and hope you're enjoying the race tonight.
Saw Norman Clark just getting a huge run on Chris Ireland there. Chris Ireland just had to lift out a tiny bit. Norman Clark going up on the high line, just trying to get that run past, and then all of a sudden the airs hit the front of that car and it is dropping back. That Mustang is falling back in the pack now. It just shows you need somebody to work with you in pack racing like this.
Yeah, up front though, on that outside line, we got 3 DPR cars there, and the fourth DPR car is there in the 98 of Stephen Williams, running third in that low line at the moment. Matty Hunter having a great run up there in the top 10 tonight too.
Yeah, they're all sitting pretty close together. Noddy Tompkins, though, he's just falling off the back of this pack. He needs to make sure that he doesn't drop too much further behind, because he is just on the bubble of losing that draft towards the back of this pack. You don't want to be down there all on your own. When you lose that draft, the car just falls back so very, very quickly.
We can see that top line, that high line really starting to get a run, and it's starting to work with those 4 guys nose to tail, 5 guys nose to tail.
Yeah, that high line is getting some really good runs at the moment. It looks like it's got good pace as well up there, as we see one of the cars just dropping back there, and I think that was Roger Clark. He just got caught down. He got pinned down on the apron, and I think he's going to have to pull it into the lane here, or he's going to face dropping off the back of the pack. Luckily, as we said, it is stage racing, so he's lost the draft at the moment, but he will hopefully get that back once the stage caution comes out. Of course, it is Daytona, and what's Daytona famous for, Mark? What is any super speedway famous for?
The big one. It's not a matter when. It's not a matter if, it's a matter of when.
It's always there lurking, and all it takes is one little mistake. And when you're bump drafting, like they are up the front with Ryan Jones, Chris Arlen, those two very close together, same for JCW and Shane Bowen, all it takes is one bad bump and you can find yourself facing the wrong direction and heading to a rather large crash.
We just see there Chris Island drop down to that low line, and Bowen now trying to push him to the lead. But on the high line we've got Dyson and Jones together. Dave Douglas is just sitting back there waiting for something to happen. But that again, it seems like coming off turn 2 down that back straight, that high line really has the run on the over the low line.
Yeah, the high line's looking pretty good at the moment. Stevie Dubb just losing a little bit there. I think there was a bit of a bad bump because he ended up just pinging down to the apron and losing a fair amount of time there. The field is really split up as well. You can just see the pack is splitting up quite a bit there. That will close up quite quickly. They're not in danger zone of losing the draft, but it's not what you want, little things like that. Luckily, nobody really got caught up in it. Dave Douglas right now pushing Andrew Dyson, and well, if there's one man you want behind you on a super speedway, it is Dave Douglas, the king of pushers. He is absolutely going for it at the moment. You can see linked up with Dyson, pushing him into the lead of the pack, but that's going to soon close up when everybody else gets that draft behind them. But Dave Douglas at the moment just getting his eye in and getting ready to do his job and do it well.
Yeah, Riley Curtis just sitting back there off the back of Dave. Just wasn't able to go with Dave and Dyson. But now you can see, as you said, Carl, everyone's closing up again down through the tri-oval into turn 1 and 2. Just wondering if we're going to see that high line get that run again down the back straight.
Looks like we've got a little bit of connectivity issue there for Maxi Marshall, unfortunately. And that will hopefully clear itself up, but never easy to have somebody blinking in the midfield. It can be a little bit distracting for the drivers, and also in a draft situation like this, it can affect it as well, because when that car blinks out of existence, all of a sudden the draft disappears, it comes back in and you get sucked up to the back of it as well, so that can be a little bit distracting. Hopefully though that will clear itself up as this race goes on. Really tight fighting up the front once again. They are absolutely nose to tail, no gaps left between these guys. Once again, they are really closing up nice and close to each other for the next 18 laps of this race. So Brad Fenley at the moment, he is the tail of the pack. He is keeping himself right at the back of this group. And then we have Roger Clark, unfortunately, all on his lonesome. He is out there lapping on his own at the moment, and that is a painful place to be, as you have nobody to help you out. He is going to be hoping for a caution or the stage break as soon as possible, because it won't be long until this pack gobbles him up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he should be right. If he can stay on this lead lap, come the end of the stage, he won't get any stage points, because there are stage points up for grab tonight. He won't have a big hassle. Even if he does drop a lap down, he should get the wave around being the first car a lap down.
Yeah, absolutely, gives that a little bit of a chance. And as you said, stage points will be awarded to the top 10. Those drivers in the top 10 for the stage, once it comes to that point, will get points for the championship. At the moment, Hayden Dew on debut is sitting in 10th position, could well score the final stage point tonight, but that position is hotly contested at the moment. Ryan Jones leading the pack at the moment, and this could be a real crucial part of the race, with drivers thinking about those stage points. It could really make the championship quite different having those stage points in play. giving you an opportunity to earn a few extra points and really help you out as the season goes on.
100% correct. We see in real life that the guys down the back tend to come in and maybe takes a set of tyres and some fuel and get back out to get position on the track, to be able to stay out there once that stage is complete.
And I do wonder how many are going to take advantage of that. It's going to be interesting to see who is going to take advantage of that. I remember pit lane closes 2 laps before the stage break, so lap 28 will be the lap where it is closed. So you need to come in before that to get it working. Who is going to do that? Who is not? Dave Douglas pushing Andrew Dyson up into the lead. That high line flying once again. That high line switching on. Hayden Dew up there as well. Has moved himself up into 4th position at the moment. He's sitting right behind Riley Curtis, and that is a nice spot to be in at the moment. Ryan Jones just falling back a little bit. That low line just losing quite a bit of momentum at the moment.
You see again Dave Douglas right up onto the back of Dyson, giving him a good push.
Yeah, as we say, if you want a man behind you pushing, it is Dave Douglas. He is very, very good in that position and will really hustle you along to a very good finishing position on a super speedway. No slouch himself as well. He is very happy to take a win here as well as help somebody else get it. So watch out for Dave as this race goes on. He could well be one of those contenders. He's got his teammate in Riley Curtis right behind him as well. So the 2 A1 cars linked together at the moment, and that's a good place to be. We see DPR as well. They've got their cars in some good positions at the moment. Ryan Jones with Christopher Ireland going forwards at a vast rate, and Knots, those two pushing hard with each other now as well. And they have Andrew Dyson up there too. Don't let the different paint scheme fool you. He is a DPR driver and he will be... Oh, that was a big blink, I think. I was about to say that was a big wreck, but no, it was just a big blink. Maxi Marshall just having a few, as we said, a few connectivity issues. And I think the iRacing thought they maybe had an incident, because I swear I saw a fender flying through the air.
Yeah, I definitely seen a fender flying through the air. But mate, we now have two groups. The last one now in that lead group is Stevie Dubb in the 98 machine, and then we got the second group of Brad Fenley, Ruben, all the SRM guys, and Matty Hunter, just sitting back and having a nice easy run in the early stage.
Yeah, I think Maxi Marshall's pulled it in. I'm just going to go back and have a look at that one and see if there was actually any contact, or if he did bring it in, because I swore I saw a fender flying through the air, but no, I think he is just bringing it in just because the connectivity's just got that little bit bad, unfortunately. Shame to see. Maxi, one of those drivers that is still in competition, and just mechanical DNF, you could say, for tonight, due to the internet not wanting to play ball.
Yeah, it's a real shame for Maxi. He's one that turns up every week where he can, and just not had the luck of some of the others. But back up front, we now have Jones and Dyson linked up, and we have Dave Douglas just having a look down a little bit on that low line, back through the tri-oval, and yeah, he's decided to run with that low line. So the teammates now have been split up, and Jones now drops back down in the front of Douglas to try and cut off that run, and he's done that very successful.
Yeah, that was a good positioning there for Jonesy, just slicing down. But now Douglas has jumped up in front of Andrew Dyson, so this could be useful for just saving that little bit of extra fuel. And we can see now Roger Clark about to fall down a lap. It's not taken long, but this is the trouble of running out on your lonesome, is you just get sucked up from the pack, and it does not take long at all for it to come and pass you, because you're running at so much slower speeds These cars run a vast rate of knots when they're in a pack, but once you get out on your own and you're having to push it through the air, really slows you down and hampers your progression forwards.
Yeah, 100%. So right at the moment now, top 10 is Dave Douglas, Andrew Dyson, Riley Curtis, Ryan Jones, Christopher Ireland, Hayden Drew, Shane Bowen, and JCW, Gary Wilmot, and Ben Henker is now up into the top 10. So it's going to be interesting here as we come ever so close to the end of stage one of our opening race for the Cup cars.
Absolutely, and now we'll see if everything works as it should. That's the intriguing part for everybody, I think, in tonight's action. For us admins behind the scenes as well, is making sure that everything works as it's meant to. So hopefully it will all run tickety-boo, and we won't have any problems at all, and everything will run smoothly and nicely and work out for the season. 3 wide in the background as Stevie Dubs just in the middle there with Sean Durkee on the inside. Roger Clark up on the outside going down a lap, but now he's linked himself in this top group. He'll be able to get back up to speed and keep himself in that lucky dog position. So I think the big thing to look out for now, Mark, is anybody coming down the lane. I'd say probably about lap 25, I think we'll see the first people to pull the pin if they are going to actually do it. Just coming in a little bit early, just come in for a big top up of fuel and see what they can do. See if they can get some track position for the next stage of this race. So I wonder if we're going to see anybody taking that opportunity and that chance.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and just in the background there, those shots as you see them come down through the tri-oval. That second group, led by Ruben Phelps and Lachlan Urquio, is starting to close in on this lead group again. So we'll have all 23 cars that are still running up in one group again. And again, as you said, just reiterate, we have lost Maxi Marshall due to the internet, the famous internet bug.
Good to see the 83 of Matty Ray out there tonight, taking victory in the Australian NASCAR E-Series in the Xfinity at Daytona last couple of nights ago. So he's coming off a hot victory there. I wonder if he's going to be trying to repeat it tonight, as there's a big run down the inside. Chris Ireland with Shane Bowen making a move to the front. In the middle, Andrew Dyson getting caught up and falling backwards at a vast rate of knots. So is Ryan Jones.
Oh, we got touch there in the background between
Wellman and
Wellman, no, the 26. Sean Durkee and Stevie Dubb got come together a little bit there down through that turn and just buffered each other out of the road.
You can see that has really helped that other group catch up, because now the SRM cars are right on the tail of this main pack, and everybody has closed up once again. 25 laps into this race. Will we see anybody could pull it into pit lane before it gets closed? Meanwhile, up the front, Chris Ireland leading the charge at the moment. A driver that has been absolutely improving in the oval side of things. A very, very quick driver on the road circuits, on the street tracks, but now transferring over to the oval side of things, much like we saw Andrew Dyson do, and coming on leaps and bounds and absolutely making a name for himself on the ovals as well as the road side of things.
100%. I'm just watching Dyson, Douglas, and Curtis and Jones. They are linking up and getting that outside road run again. They've actually closed right back up, and now they are back up almost neck and neck with Ireland. Douglas now pushing Dyson to the lead.
The second pack has fallen off a bit in pace, and the leaders have now got a fair amount of time this is where we're going to see anybody coming into the lane, I'd say. This is their last opportunity to do so before it closes. Will we see anybody take this chance and see what they can do? They're probably only just coming. It would only be fuel for this one, so they shouldn't lose a lap from it, but they could gain a lot of track position. So anybody in the front group not taking that opportunity. A bit further behind, nobody taking that opportunity. So everybody's sticking it out, and we are going to see who can win this stage. So up at the front, the battle is on. It's Dave Douglas in the lead. Who is going to be the first stage winner here in ANZCAR? At the moment, Dave Douglas, Ryan Jones up the front of the pack. It's Andrew Dyson a little bit further behind. Shane Bowen is up on the high line with Riley Curtis, but they've not really got an opportunity to get a run here. We are quickly coming up towards that stage break, and up the front it is Ryan Jones, Andrew Dyson battling it out right now. DPR have managed to break free with Chris Ireland as well. The three DPR cars getting themselves forwards. Who is going to take it, Mark?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because we now see Douglas, Curtis and Bowen now jump up to the top, and now they've pushed Jones to the lead. Now are we going to see Douglas dive to the inside, or will we see, as I say that, yeah, it does exactly that, dives to the inside. Oh, he tries to come up to block Jones, but unfortunately it doesn't work for him.
It is really, really close here, but it looks like it's going to be Ryan Jones up in front for this time around as they cross the line, and next time will be the stage. So who's it going to be? They are really starting to fight hard here at the front, and this is exactly what we want to see, is people battling it out in this stage bracket, because they've got something to race for right now.
Yeah, 100% correct. And again, we see those top three, Jones, Douglas and Curtis, really pushing each other. Is Dave going to try and get the run and get out?
It's got Riley Curtis right behind him at the moment. There was almost contact between him and Shane Bowen. Douglas jumps up to the high line as they come to the line, and Ryan Jones just gets across ahead. Now it's going to be Ryan Jones taking the first stage victory here. Well, that brought some excitement.
Yeah, it did. It most certainly did. It looks like everything has worked the way it should.
So, looking at the stage, it was Ryan Jones, Dave Douglas, Riley Curtis, Shane Bowen, Joshua Carroll, Gary Wellman, Andrew Dyson, Chris Ireland, Ben Henniker, and rounding out the stage is Cade Donnelly. So, the top 10 actually broke away from the rest of the pack, and that has really mixed things up. And well, now we get a bit of a breather for a couple of moments as the caution flag flies, and we get the first stage done and dusted here for the ANZCAR Cup here on Performance eStreaming.
So those boys there got a nice little bonus to the start of the season. Jones with 10 points and descending by 1 point down to Cade Donnelly, I believe it was. So it's a nice little bonus for them.
As the pack wait for the pace car to catch up to the group and take the lead. And will we be seeing a huge influx of cars into the pit lane? We do indeed. And I've got to say, I'm surprised nobody took the chance to come in that lap earlier and try and get some track position throughout the pack. I mean, it would have been a bit of a Hail Mary, but it could have been an interesting strategy to try, as Roger Clark will get his lap back here.
Yeah, so Roger, by the looks of it, Roger Clark's the only one that stayed out, and he needs to do that while the other guys come in to get his lap back. But yeah, he will get the wave around. We've one to go. actually he's just been given the wave around.
So Ryan Jones comes out of the lane in the lead. Dave Douglas just behind him. JCW come out in third position. So not too many big changes throughout the field as they came in for their stop. As I say, Roger Clark now getting his lap back, and he'll no doubt dart it down into the lane to get his fuel, as that will be a little bit on the lesser side of things. And get his lap back and get into this race now as we go for the next few laps and get back underway into the race and see who will take victory here at Daytona.
Well, again, Carl, we've seen some great racing carry on from the Xfinity. You know, these boys are definitely like to do a bit of rubbing, and that is definitely a NASCAR racing.
Absolutely. Well, it's the same, Mark. Rubbin is racing, son. Rubbin is racing. Martin Pedersen in 15th position, having a good run. Hayden Dew down in 18th position. The cars are looking clean. And Nick Bauer as well in 22nd position, newer to the series. All of them looking nice and clean and looking good. We are seeing some cars coming in for a little bit of extra fuel here. Ruben Phelps and Lachlan Urquio deciding to come in just for an extra top up, just a couple of extra litres put into the tank to see what they can do and see if they can extend their stint a little bit, possibly to get them close to the end of this race. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of drivers thinking about doing that here tonight, seeing if they can get it to the very end of this race. Usually about 40 laps in a tank. So they're going to be a little bit shy here tonight, but I'm sure some people will be trying to save.
100%, and we will go back green flag racing this time by as the lights are out on the pace car.
Ryan Jones, Dave Douglas will be leading us away here tonight in this second stage of the race. And, well, will we see it green to the end, or will we see a big incident? It's Daytona, so that chance is always there. But as mentioned in the chat earlier, there is a little bit less of a field here tonight. There's only 24 cars out here, well, 23 now. So that does reduce the chance of a big accident. But when you're racing so close to each other on a super speedway, all it takes is one little twitch in the wrong direction, and you can be finding yourself in a whole world of hurt. So the pace car will peel off here, and it'll be Ryan Jones leading the pack to the restart zone and going back to racing here. Everything's been reset, everything has gone back to the status quo, and we go back to racing here. I'm going to shut up so we can enjoy these cars roar away once more here at Daytona. And Ryan Jones leads once again as we go back to green flag racing here. Lap 35 of 80 here tonight. And it's Jonesy in the lead with Dave Douglas, Andrew Dyson, Gary Wellman, Joshua Carroll Walden and Riley Curtis, Shane Byrne, Kate Donnelly, Chris Ireland and Ben Henniker. That's our top 10 at the moment. Low line's pretty split up at the moment. High line is looking where people want to be. Although we are seeing some sim boys dropping down low. Watch out for those two cars of Wellman and Donnelly. We know how good the sim boys are on super speedways.
100%. We see now too the teammates are starting to link up. DPR on the high line and the A1 team on the low line of Curtis and Douglas. And we see there the 83, Matty Raymond, big charge through the field. He's now well up into the top 10, sitting in 7th position at the moment. Same with Brad Fenley, also a good run.
Absolutely, the distinctive VB livery up there in 7th position at the moment. Martin Pedersen right behind him at the moment in the Bush Light. So a battle of the beers there for 7th and 8th position.
Noddy Tompkins up there too, now in the top 10. That low line has definitely struggled on this race restart. They've dropped way back down. Dave Douglas now outside the top 10 in 11th.
I wonder if some of that was tactical, and I wonder if they wanted to drop back just to try and do some fuel saving, because I wonder if anybody is looking to try and make it to the end of this race without coming down the lane, or just making the slightest splash and dash to get them to the end. There could be a little bit of strategy in this one. We have got some cars dropped off the pack as well. Roger Clark, Nick Bauer and Matty Hunter at the moment. They've dropped right off the pack and are now in a little trio of cars to work together. Not an ideal restart for them.
They need to form up into a single lane there and start to work together. Otherwise, they'll just definitely fall completely away and have to hope for a wreck.
Although, if the leaders are fuel saving, which is always a possibility, they might be able to close back up, because, well, we have seen it here before where the main pack is almost stationary as they go into fuel conservation mode. Last time around it was a 47.4 for the leaders. That is a good few seconds shy of their fast laps, so could be getting up to speed still, but I do get the feeling that there might be a little bit of fuel saving going on out there.
We'll have to keep an eye on it. If Jones changes around and lets Island in front, or we can definitely have a guesstimation that they are trying to fuel save. But right at the moment, there's no fuel saving. It's flat out for Jones and Island. And Pedersen there also sitting now in third, worked his way through the field, and that outside line now is having another run with Dyson, Douglas and Tompkins just not 100% sure. Now, as I say that, he switches to the high line.
Yeah, I think ones to watch out for are going to be Urquio and Ruben Phelps. They came in for that extra splash of fuel, remember, just at the end of the stage break, and that could prove to be fairly crucial as this race goes on. Still not setting the lap times alight, you got to say. 46.4 for the leader, and the rest of the pack are still pretty. They're not flying, you got to say. So there is a little bit of not quite pushing it to the maximum at the moment. So we'll see how this continues to shake on. I wonder if anybody's going to try and get up to the front and try and increase the speed of this race to stop people from fuel saving, to try and break it into a race where they have to come down the lane. That could be a very important strategy if it happens, or we could see somebody breaking away from the pack too doing that.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, but by the looks of these guys out front, they're now back into the 47s, so they aren't going flat stick. But if we see anyone start to break away, the other guys have got no choice but to react.
Yeah, it's going to be a. As I say, I'm sure they're doing their calculations in their head at the moment, trying to work out what they need to do and what they have to get to the end of this race. And patience could be a virtue here for some of these drivers. That could be really useful. So we have just crossed over the half race distance here tonight. Lap 42 we are. We are coming down to the second half of this race. Who could take victory here tonight? Well, I've got to say it's anybody's race to win. Being a super speedway, anything can happen, and it usually does.
You got to have a little bit of luck here on the super speedways, but I mean to say we've got a nice big group here, and anyone in this lead group, we have seen it coming out of turn 4, big wreck on the white flag, and a few drive through and take the race win. And Norman Clark now deciding that he wants to try and have a lead at a lane, and he's out the front on the low line, with Jonesy now giving him the hurry up.
Yeah, could find himself a nice little bonus point here if he can get the lead of the race when they cross the line. Get himself a lap lead point, and always nice to get those little bonus points stacked up in a season. They can be the difference between a position or two sometimes, depending on how it's gone. As Norman Clark leads a lap here at Daytona, gets himself that bonus point ticked off, and is running up at the front of the field. And pace has started picking up here now. 46.8 there for the lead pack. So they're a bit of a run for Norman Clark, obviously helping that, but it does look like the pace is starting to pick up a little bit here in the main pack, as they're starting to get possibly a little bit more confident that they can make it, or they know they can't make it and have decided to just go hell for leather. Norman Clark dropping back after getting that bonus point. Now Ryan Jones back up into the lead, and well, Jonesy's been up the front of this pack for a fair few laps now, so he is very much in that position where he's going to be using the most fuel of anybody really in this main group of cars. But they are breaking away from the rest of the pack. You can see the gap forming to Norman Clark back here in 4th position. So the lead group of cars are starting to break away a little bit, and I think everybody's starting to get a little bit fed up of driving to numbers, and now they just want to race as fast as they can.
It looks like Dave has just fallen back to try and keep that other group in touch with these guys, and as we see now, Dyson moved to the outside for a run, and now we're going to make it 3 wides across the straight through the tri-oval.
Ryan Jones stuck in the middle right here, and he is going to plummet backwards as he's got nobody to support him. No help there, but probably a little bit tactical as well. He probably wants to drop back a bit to save some fuel. So that could well be him just wanting to go back in the pack a little bit, shuffle his way back, get himself in a position where he can start doing a little bit of a fuel save. Gary Wellman, Kate Donnelly just falling off the back of the main pack here as well. Gary Wellman looks like he's just about on the bubble. Kate Donnelly might just be in a bit of trouble here as he struggles to keep up with the rest of these cars. He could find himself just falling off the main pack here and falling back to the secondary group, which is currently being led by Nick Bauer, Matty Hunter and Roger Clark. This group setting 46.4s, so they're not too far off the main pace. They're still keeping some good time in there, but they are about 10 seconds off the leader. So not an ideal position to be in at this stage of the race. Norman Clark getting a bit of a run, and Dave Douglas now falling back through the pack and dropping himself down into a position where he can do a little bit of fuel conservation.
Yeah, only problem with that though is if the guys decide to make it 2 lines, and Dave's been saved there by being able to get back down in front of Clark, and Shane Bowen there taking the lead of that low line. See Jones now very aggressive driving, but that we know that's his style of racing. Definitely wants to be out the front. We see him drop back down into that low line, and JCW there giving Dyson a good push on that high line.
You can see those two cars connected at the moment. JCW tucked up right under the rear spoiler of Andrew Dyson, pushing him along at the moment and absolutely gunning for it here. Those two cars really connected well with each other. That high line is looking pretty darn strong here tonight, Mark, and looking like the place to be. Probably where you want to be when the closing few laps hit here tonight.
100%. Excuse me. It's going to be interesting because we've got guys here that at the front, you know, Andrew Dyson, JCW, Ryan Jones, Shane Bowen, Dave Douglas, even Ireland and Clark. They won't give up. If they've got a chance to go for the win, they definitely will go for the win here tonight.
Just watching Chris Ireland here. He's in the middle here towards the mid-pack. He's down in 11th position. He's got Noddy Tompkins underneath him. Just in front is Hayden Dew. And they are racing hard, and he's managed to find himself a position back in line. Up in the high line he goes. Meanwhile, Stevie Dubb takes the lead of the race, gets a big push from Ryan Jones, and is going to be the next driver to secure himself a bonus point for a lap led.
But is this high line going to get the run down through the tri-oval? Because they are closing quickly. He may just hold on to get a lap led. And he does.
I wonder if having a teammate up leading that high line was the difference maker there for Stevie Dubb, gaining that bonus point.
And again, we see Dave Douglas drop down into the middle to make it 3 wide through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, we're trying to keep an eye on everything here. Luckily, a smaller field makes it somewhat easier, but there is plenty of racing going on. We've got 3 wide action throughout the pack at the moment, and everywhere we look, there is some serious racing going on. We've got Chris Ireland just underneath Hayden Dew's rear spoiler there, with JCW up on the high line. Sean Durkee back there too, and looks like Gary Wellman's managed to stay on. Unfortunately for Kay Donnelly, he has dropped off, but he has managed to link up with Roger Clark, Matt Hunter and Nick Bauer, so it's not over for him. That little group can start working together, and with 4 cars in that pack, they might be able to close in on the leaders if they start battling hard. Meanwhile, the main pack at the front has broken away. So up the front, the top 10 have broken away once again from the rest of the pack. I should say top 11. Martin Pedersen, the final car in that group. Joshua Carroll-Walden now leading the rest of the Chargers here in the secondary pack.
I can tell you now that high line at the front has really got to run on again. Dyson are now back out in the front with Dave Douglas pushing hard. It's a hard one to swap and change and look away because up here at the front it's changing every lap.
And it's constantly evolving, this race. Lap 53 of 80. Question is, can they make it to the end on fuel? Are we going to see a quick splash and dash? If we see a caution, that is really going to shake things up as well, because that will mean everybody should be able to make it to the end on fuel too. So there is still a lot to play for here tonight, and a lot of things could go right or wrong for these drivers, depending on the strategy they're running.
And now we've got Dyson and Williams breaking away from this main group. It's only by half a second, but that is a big gap.
That is a nice gap there from the leaders. That is a sizable gap to pull out on a super speedway. As I say, I think a few people are just in fuel conservation mode and they're not quite pushing to the extremes. They're not quite pushing the throttle pedal right to the firewall on their cars and not quite using every single horsepower, every single pony under the bonnet, just trying to preserve a little bit of that fuel to get them to the end of the race, whereas some others are very much enjoying this and just absolutely driving foot to the floor, throttle on the loud mode and going for it. See Dyson dropping back down low here with Stevie Dub. That group's closed back up again, not to a huge amount of surprise. Dave Douglas and Riley Curtis doing a bit of rehearsal as Riley Curtis just gets a bit loose in the corner entry there. Got to be so careful when you're bump drafting in this Cup car because you lose aero quite quickly and the car will just understeer up into the wall. It gets very, very tight on corner entry if you've got it tucked up behind another car like that. And you can very quickly find yourself giving that wall a rub and having your race end in spectacular fashion.
Yeah, I think Riley just did slightly touch that wall there coming through turns 3 and 4, but it hasn't hurt him, thankfully. He's been able to stay in that lead group. Again, now Douglas right on the bumper of that Chevrolet of Dyson.
And they drop down low, leave Dyson high and dry. He's got Noddy Tompkins up behind him. Great run for Noddy so far tonight. He has been up at the front almost all race long. Always good to see Nods having a good run and a lot of speed in that car as always. He is right up at the front, just behind Martin Pedersen on debut tonight, up in 3rd position. A great debut race so far for the 79. We can see that second group now catching up to the rest of the pack. They've all gone single file mode and they've caught up to the back of the main train. So once again, we have a 19 car strong field. Nick Bauer still trying to lead the rest of these cars up to get close. Meanwhile, Noddy Tompkins has managed to get himself up into the lead. Will he be able to get it across the line for that bonus point for himself here tonight?
You can see there he's moved high to try and break that drag, and he does. He picks up a bonus point, leading a lap tonight. Again, we go back to almost 3 wide. Jones now back to the low line.
Pedersen there, thinking about dropping low, but he caught it just in the nick of time. I reckon he got told clear low, went to make the move and then realised the gap was not there. Very easy thing to happen and a mistake that you see often on super speedways where you're told that you're clear on the inside, and if you don't take a little glance down there, just don't take a quick look-see, you find yourself in a big accident very, very quickly. Great situational awareness there to stop it from being a big incident. Meanwhile, Brad Fenley is getting a flyer on as well, the VB car, flying forwards towards the pack and being the highest running beer car at the moment, and he is trying to get himself up into the lead. It's not quite working at the moment.
Yeah, you could see him try to do the same thing. He would have been told he was clear, and then all of a sudden that gap just disappeared. 3 wide there. Oh, they're touching, they're rubbing. This is going to hurt Pedersen and Tompkins. You can see how far back they've fallen in the field.
I think Noddy Tompkins just giving the wall a slight little glancing blow there. It didn't really damage the car, but it did just drop him back. But now he's linked up with the other SRM crew. And now they can start working with each other and moving themselves forwards in this pack. Meanwhile, up at the front, Ryan Jones getting back up into the lead. He's got Shane Bowen right underneath the spoiler, seeing what he can do here. Dave Douglas getting another run. He's still got Riley Curtis up there. Ben Henniker, he's moving up there to give Shane Bowen a bit of support. And then it's Dyson at the back here. Everybody else split up a little bit after those shenanigans. Stevie Dub leading the charge. Then we have a big group back here running 2 wide at the moment with Pedersen and Dew on the low line. Tompkins, Ray, Urquio and Phelps up on the high line. Dave Douglas giving Jonesy a big old push there, really, really forcing him forwards. And the speed has started picking up again here in this race, and they are once again going for it. I think everybody's gone, well, I don't think we're going to make it, so let's try and get this one moving as fast as we can.
And that group now is closed right back up, and it's a group of about 14 cars now, so 13 cars.
Mr. Double D, Davey Douglas in the lead, and once again he's got Riley Curtis right behind him. Those two will work very well together. We know they've been teammates for a good long time too, so they are working it well. And they've actually blocked off the high line now, so good awareness from the A1 team, keeping themselves up the front and locking off both lines. Ryan Jones trying to push Riley forwards right here to try and slot himself down in front of Douglas to stop them having that advantage, I'd say.
Riley will pick up a bonus point. I'm keen to see actually how many drivers tonight have picked up bonus points for leading the lap. And we just see there in the background Brad Fenley get a little bit loose and get up into the wall in the turn one. See now Gary Wellman back up there in fourth position.
And a big shout out to Gene out there tonight, cheering on Double D, Mr. Dave Douglas, or should I say Triple D, Dad Dave Douglas, out there tonight, having a fun watching us on the stream. Big shout out to everybody in the stream here tonight. Thank you for joining us here at Performance eStream. We love having you on board. We love being able to bring you these races. If it wasn't for you watching, we couldn't bring you this stuff live. So a big thank you to you all for joining us here tonight. Looking back through the pack a little bit, the second group being led by Maddie Ray at the moment, 14th position. This group is settled in nicely. They're not too far off the main pack, so they are sitting in good position at the moment, all nice and single file, working well together. A little bit further back, Nick Bauer still leading this group, trying to close it in the gap. They're 16 seconds behind. They really need to see a caution to get themselves back in this race, you've got to say. As we see the first group coming into pit lane.
That is a big group of cars in the pit lane for, I would imagine it's just fuel.
So A1, DPR, all coming in to the lane. Norman Clark and Sean Decay in for this group of cars. Who's going to come out first? Decay taking right side tyres. He's the only one in that group to take tyres, and that's going to cost him a huge amount of time as they all come out nicely. That was a great stop for that group as they get back out on track.
Just watching that second group now, that the leaders are Gary Wellman, and they are in pit lane. SRM, that's that other group. Oh no, Pedersen's missed the pit lane entry. That has really hurt him. He's had to pull the pin and go back out onto the track.
Let's watch the replay here from... We could just see there, just at the bottom of the screen, Pedersen just missing the lane, and rather than getting a penalty, he's gone back out on track. That is going to be a painful one, especially at a super speedway. That's left SRM in the lead of the race with Raymond, Urquio and Phelps up here at the front. Carol Walden and Noddy Tompkins back there still out on the track. So we've still got a few people out here out on track, and SRM, to no surprise really, doing a big fuel save here tonight.
Just going back to check something, because I think Gary Wellman has come in the pit lane and he's driven through his pit box. I'll just having a look at the replay here on my screen.
group of cars that have stopped are getting out on track. Brad Fenley having a ripper of a stop, getting himself back out in this group. That's going to be crucial for him. He's managed to link it up. Andrew Dyson leading it. Meanwhile, Maddie Ray, Lachlan Acquia, Ruben Phelps are the leading pack at the moment as they come through and keep on going here. A lot of laps to go if everybody else needed fuel that early. So it's going to be a lot of laps they need to make up if they're going to make it to the end here on fuel. They're just sticking it out at the moment, and well, they're going to be losing possibly a little bit of time. So they're going to have to pull it into the lane relatively soon. Otherwise, they could be in trouble. Obviously, they're just hoping for a shorter stationary time to try and get it back out on track. Currently, the fastest stationary time we've had through those pit stops was JCW, and they're seeing SRM pull it into the pit lane now.
JCW's dropped out of that line. He's I don't know whether he got a bad bump there or what happened, but he's dropped off that group of leaders now.
Nick Bauer takes the lead of the race. We saw this group drop back earlier on. They've remained out on track, Cade Donnelly and Matty Hunter. So were they trying something very different here and seeing if they could get a big fuel save done? That could be an interesting one as this one goes on, as they continue their way forwards. They've got Hayden Dew just in front of them as they charge around the track here. Sorry, Nick Bauer there, and one Pedersen has come out with them. Bauer needing to pull it into the lane, and that's going to leave Matty Hunter out there to get a bonus point and a lap led here at Daytona with just 10 laps to go. Matty Hunter managing to stay out there that nice bit longer and keep himself up in the lead of the race with Cade Donnelly. No way he can make it to the end, you wouldn't think, Mark.
He's if he does, he's definitely want to be scrutineered a little bit closer, because he's probably got a bit bigger fuel line in that car.
Yeah, we'll have to check and see if there are any refueling planes hovering above the track and just coming in to give Matty Hunter a refuel just out on track. And he pulls it into the lane now with Cade Donnelly. But extended that stint and managed to get himself a bonus point for a lap led. Good job from Matty Hunter. Dave Douglas, though, up in the lead of the race now as they come through with just 9 laps to go here at Daytona. It is absolutely on for this final flying run to the end of the race.
I've got to ask you, Carl, are you game enough to pick a winner?
No. I don't want to ruin anybody's race, so we will just be kind to them. Matty Ray is out on his lonesome at the moment with Lachlan Acquia, Josh Carroll, Ben Henniker, Shane Bowen, Gary Wellman, Hayden Dew, and Ruben Phelps. This second group, they have got to work super hard to close up here because they're about 9 seconds back. They really do not have time to squabble. They've got to close up on this lead pack. Dave Douglas jumping up to the high line. Looks like he's going to just drop back a little bit here and get himself in a comfortable position. Chris Ireland takes the lead of the race, though. So, crucially here, DPR have got Ireland, Jonesy, Dyson up in this main group. Unfortunately, Stevie Dove's dropped down to 19th position. Looks like he had a bit of a long stop, just didn't quite make it work. And maybe possibly even didn't see any penalties or anything like that, but hasn't worked out for Stevie Dove tonight, while our veteran of the series. But Chris Ireland is working out very well here at the lead of the race. He's got Riley Curtis in right behind him. What can this group do? 7 cars here trying to get victory. Got 7 seconds to this group here being led by Lachlan Urquio. So the main pack here, you got to say it's a race of these 7 cars unless we see a caution. The group behind don't think are going to really close up the gap. They've got 8 laps to close the gap up, and well, they've got to go about a second a lap faster than these cars up in front. I'm just going to jump on the gearbox cam of Chris Ireland because it looks like Riley Curtis may have taken a bit of a bad bump at the front, and he has. He's got some damage on the front end of that Mustang. You can see it's just caved in a little bit there. Riley Curtis, that could just hurt the aero of the car a little bit. Just slow it down a tiny bit as it goes out on its lonesome.
A little bit messy there where they decide which way they want to go. And we can see there definitely Curtis dropping back. But is that fuel save or is that damage?
I think he's jetting back to help Dave Douglas. And, well, as these guys shuffle position and try and get themselves in a spot to win this race, this is helping Urquio. He has done the 2-second a lap gap right here. He is closing in at a vast rate of knots on this lead pack. Norman Clark jumping up to the lead. Is there possibly a little bit of fuel conservation needed because they took a bit too little fuel? Didn't quite judge it right. Are they just shuffling to see who can get in the right position? But as they do this, it's allowing that secondary group to catch up. They've taken out about 4 seconds in under 2 laps here. So Lachlan Urquio at the moment is charging forwards. We're going to jump on the gyro here just to give a bit of an idea of just how the gap looks from this position and how quick it is closing. If that group at the front can line up nose to tail and get in a straight line, work together, they will be able to gap this little group behind, but they need to work together crucially. That is going to be the thing to watch out for. Up the front, Ryan Jones and Andrew Dyson have got a huge lead over Dave Douglas. They've just pulled out a second over the second little group here. Ryan Jones and Dyson may be pulling the trigger a little bit too soon.
Yeah, I was just going to call you back to that lead, Carl, because it just seemed like they just found an extra gear and off they went. There was a little bit of tussling in that group with Clark and co, but they definitely have come back to them now.
Dave Douglas getting a monster run there, closing in, and that's the trouble on a super speedway. You build a gap in front of you, you leave yourself open to the cars behind you.
4 laps to go. Who is going to win the opening round of the Cup cars?
Four laps to go. The gap back here is 2.8 seconds. If these guys can absolutely link it up, they've got a chance of closing in up at the front. As these guys start to fight for the lead. Dave Douglas up in the lead now with Chris Ireland just behind him. Chris Ireland's going to be able to just want to drop down. He needs Fenley to help him. He needs that low line just to drop a little bit of speed so he can slot it down and link up with the other DPR cars here. He doesn't want to allow Riley Curtis to hick it up with Dave Douglas though. If that happens, Douglas could be in with a shout here. Brad Fenley up there too. He is out there on his lonesome, same as Norman Clark. Those two could be the difference makers in this little run to the flag. Because if they can actually get it working, they can really help somebody out here tonight and really get it in. As they're coming up on a bit of lap traffic here with 3 laps to go. As you can see, those pit stops really shaking things up. And those lapped cars, if they can link onto the back here, they could possibly help some of these leaders out. But Dave Douglas is leading right now as they go past the number 12 there of Nick Bauer, who has had a bit of a long race, unfortunately, dropping off from the main pack after the stage caution earlier in the race. 2 laps to go here tonight. It's Dave Douglas in the lead with Ryan Jones, Andrew Dyson, Norman Clark, Chris Ireland, Riley Curtis and Brad Fenley. That's our top 7. Can Lachlan Urquio close the gap? He is trying with all his might. I imagine he's rocking back and forth in that chair, trying to close this gap. We could see them linking up to the back of this pack as the white flag flies, Mark.
Yeah, definitely. And this is a dangerous time for Douglas. Is Jones going to put the move he does? He dives to the inside. Is any of his teammates going to go with him? No. They stay with Douglas on the outside.
Dyson up there with Douglas. Norman Clark there too. You can see that Chris Ireland sits back a little bit. This is it. White flag is flying. It's the final lap of the race. Who is going to take victory here tonight? Douglas in the lead. Not the best position to be in on a super speedway, you've got to say. He's got Dyson, Norman Clark right behind him, Chris Ireland. Ryan Jones has dropped off. Lachlan Urquio's closed up. They're going to have a monster run to the white flag. Can we see Urquio close in the gap here? Down to the inside they go. We're going to keep our eyes on the lead pack here. Douglas and Dyson working well together. Norman Clark gets a run. Douglas just gets a bit loose on the corner. That's going to cost him momentum. Norman Clark drops down low. Can he link up with Douglas? There's contact between him and Riley Curtis. Douglas gets out front. Douglas is going to win it here tonight at Daytona. Norman Clark comes home second. Brad Finley misses out on third as Ryan Jones crosses the line on the grass. But Dave Douglas, Double D, wins the Super Speedway, takes out the first victory in the Cup cars.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Well, I think we need to look at a replay of that one.
Maybe several angles of a replay, because I have absolutely no idea what happened there.
Okay, let's jump back to a bit of a replay here. We'll jump up to the blimp here. And, well, it all sort of started with Riley Curtis and Norman Clark. This is the lap prior. Let's see if we can... we'll just fast forward a bit here, because white flag is out, I think, at this stage.
So Curtis gets a good run. And then you see that second group. A little bit of a bad bump by Jones. But, hey, that's NASCAR. That doesn't always come off.
See, Curtis gives Norman Clark a bit of a bump, and that pushes him up into Dyson. Norman Clark goes back down, hits Curtis. Curtis goes around, so that's one car out of the equation. Then we see Chris Ireland going up. JCW goes up, catches the back of Ireland, goes into Urquio. Ryan Jones drops it below the yellow line, so that's going to be interesting to see if that counts. But he is basically on the grass, rally crossing it right here. Dave Douglas takes the win. Brad Finley just gets past JCW for fourth position. Ryan Jones takes third across the grass here, and well, all hell's breaking loose behind him as it is just carnage as they cross the line.
Well, Carl, all I can say is that it's continued on. The great racing has continued on, and a great finish. And a challenging finish for the first race of the Cup cars.
Absolutely, and well, that was a spectacular finish. As you can see here, all of the chaos behind unfolding as there are cars all across the track. Urquio missing most of the front end. He actually managed to cross the line and sort of keep the car moving, but dropped down to 21st position. Lost a lap somewhere in all of that carnage that was going on, and in the end it was Dave Douglas taking victory here tonight, and well, he is burning it down now and celebrating in some style. We'll just rewind it a little bit here because we missed some of the donuts and some of the victory celebrations as we were unfolding that victory. But the number 10, Dave Douglas, takes victory here tonight. He finished off the Xfinity Series strong, taking victory at the race I missed, which I can't remember which race that was now. Richmond, was it?
Yeah, it was.
And he starts off his Cup Series strong, taking victory here tonight. Let us bring up the finishing order, the results for this race, as we watch Dave Douglas in the background enjoying his victory. Davy Douglas up there in first position, taking the win ahead of Normie Clark in second. Ryan Jones in third position with Brad Fenley in fourth. Fifth for Joshua Carroll Walden. Considering the car had a big flat tyre getting across the line, he'll be happy with that. Ben Henniker comes home in sixth position for Cobalt. Hayden Dew on debut comes home in seventh. Great opening round for him. Matty Ray in eighth position, the highest of the SRM cars. Riley Curtis down in ninth position, with Ruben Phelps rounding out the top 10. Dyson comes home in 11th with Chris Island 12th, 13th for Wellman, 14th for Donny, Noddy Tompkins 15th. Matty Hunter comes home 16th position, Roger Clark 17th, 18th for Stevie Dubb, Sean Dickey in 19th and 20th for Nick Bauer. And Lachlan Urquhart 21st with Shane Bowen, Martin Pedersen, Maxi Marshall and Brenton Henderson not making the start.
Well, we're just waiting on our third place getter to come into the green room, and as soon as that, we'll start our post-race interviews. But mate, next week we're off to Darlington, as you can see there on screen. Now this is going to be an interesting one with stage racing in it.
Yeah, again, we can see some real big shake-ups here with the stages, and it's just going to really make it quite interesting, you gotta say. There could really be some very different style of racing at Darlington with the stage in there. That could really shake things up for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely shook things up tonight. We've seen the guys come in, take fuel, and still that second stage, a long run, running short on fuel and having to come in for a splash. I would imagine a lot of them only came in and say probably only 10 to 15 litres short on the fuel. So, but we'll definitely find out as we go through the interviews. That is one thing that I will have to ask the boys.
Absolutely, and we might start off with our second place getter as we wait for third place to get up into the ring just to get things moving.
Yep. So the pilot of the 09 Mustang, Mr. Norman Clark. Welcome to the opening round of the Cup Cars, mate, and congratulations on a very well-run race and a second place.
Oh yeah, Mark. Thanks for that. Yeah, that was enjoyable. Good fun.
Yeah, mate. We kept an eye on you early in the race, and you just stayed back there out of trouble. And again, you're the one person that you can always count on being up that pointy end at the end of the race. And you definitely proved it tonight with a second place.
Well, I mean, I've always said, there's only one lap that counts, and it's actually the last one. So, I just did my best. So that was that. I'll take a second.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Well, there's definitely nothing wrong with the second place, and a couple of bonus points for leading a lap and everything tonight too. So it's a great way to kick off the Cup Car season.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with that, and and a good job there by Davo for taking out the win, and a great third there for Ryan. So Ryan did a good pass on me there at one point through the tri-oval below the yellow, which I thought was quite a unique move. So yeah, good as team.
Yeah, I seen that, but I wasn't going to say anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, age and treachery, so I gave him a bit of room, and I stayed in the fight.
Yeah, definitely. Well, mate, before we let you go, we're off to Darlington next week. Will we see you back out for the race next week?
Yep, I'll definitely be there if I'm still alive, so we'll see you there for sure.
Mate, you're not allowed to die. You'll be racing until you're 150, I'm sure of it.
Let's hope so.
All right, mate. Before we let you go, shout out to supporters and sponsors.
Oh, I'm just running private, so I get a case of Mountain Dew, which I have in the pits, and yeah, that's about me done.
Fair enough, mate. All right, again.
Thanks to you guys, of course, putting on the show. So yeah, happy with that. So good fun each week.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for the kind words, mate. Well, again, congratulations on a great opening round, second place to kick it off, and we'll see you next week at Darlington.
Yep. Thanks a lot, Mark. Thank you there, Carl.
All right. So one happy person, we will bring up our third place getter. He's just he was down there grabbing a cold drink and I'm sure going for a toilet stop, mate. Ryan Jones, the pilot of the number 11 Chevrolet. What a hard fought race for a third place, mate.
A bit disappointing in the end, but we collected the stage points. I think me and Dave, Dave was second and first, but good points, Dave, with the stage. I love the stage break. That's a big takeaway tonight. Love that.
Yeah, it's definitely puts another element into the races. We were all wondering, how whether anyone would dive into the pits to try and to get a position made up on the track at the end of the stage. But you all did the standard thing and stayed out to the stage checkered flag.
Yeah, this place there's not much benefit to it. I mean, you can gain yourself track position, yeah, but unless you're doing it with a bunch of guys, you're going to end up having to pit earlier than everyone else. So, and the last run was short enough that there was a sort of a big window where you could pit as well, which was good. I'm glad it wasn't a fuel race because it allowed us to actually battle all race, which sort of was a lot of fun. I think the Cup car, when you can race and not fuel save, is the best drafting package out there with the side draft and everything, and the runs. Fuck, the runs are huge. Whoops.
Beep. Mate, we seen it seemed like you guys just tried to slow it down a little bit about mid stage, and then everyone just said, oh well, we're not going to make it on fuel, let's race, and it really turned into a fantastic race from the commentary booth, and I'm quite sure everyone that was tuning in enjoyed that race too.
Yeah, I don't think at any point we were fuel saving really. We think we knew pretty early we weren't going to make it on that last run, so I was just enjoying getting up front, leading plenty of laps, changing lanes, working the runs, and yeah, it just didn't work out at the end. Got miffed for two of my own teammates, which is just how it is. Every man for themselves on the last lap.
That's it, mate. That's it. Unfortunately, a little bit of a tap, but that's NASCAR racing. Just not quite a tap in the right spot, and we did see the big one come here at Daytona.
Got a bit lucky there. Had to get up on the wheel, just keep it straight, and powered it across the grass to the line. So got a bit fortunate.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I do hope you had the mower blades on that last lap.
I do know the boys are going to have to work pretty hard to get the leaves out the front of that thing.
Well, mate, off to Darlington next week. Love it or hate it?
I sincerely hate the place, but I go well there, so I'm not. I'm indifferent about next week. We'll see how we go.
Fair enough, mate. All right, mate. Well, congratulations on a hard-fought third place. Before we let you go, shout out to our sponsors and supporters.
Yeah, we'll leave the sponsors to. Oh no, we won't. Okay.
No, you've got it tonight.
So good Daiso won the race. No, he didn't. NP Design, South of Listen Hoist, and Ben Max Mechanical, the boys at DPR, and big shout out to Forex as well, supporting us tonight. Got a big group of guys in there and having fun, chatting away throughout the race.
All right, mate. Well, we'll definitely see you next week at Darlington.
See you boys there.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for your time. Okay. We know what type of reaction we're going to get from this bloke. Opening round of the Cup cars. We know he's going to be excited. The pilot of the Ford Mustang number 10, the A1 driver, Dave Douglas. Welcome to the booth, mate, and congratulations on a great race win.
Hey, boys, put on a clinic, didn't I?
You did tonight, mate. Mate, got to say,
the young bucks how to do it, mate.
Yeah, got to say, what a great race. like you and Riley Curtis having a great run there. Unfortunately for Riley, getting a little bit of a damage on a bump that he gave one of the DPR boys. I think it was Ireland, but a great hard fought battle between the DPR team and you guys, the A1 team.
Yeah, man, that was honestly one of the most fun races. Like the stage, I think is brilliant because especially at a super speed like this, you know, like you can race hard knowing that you're not having to save fuel, no one's saving fuel. We're just going to go and race hard, and that's what we did. I tried to race Jonesy there to get the green white checker as well, but just missed out on that. But and it was fun. Like, and you reset, go again. Then it comes down to a bit of strategy. Then you got to work out where you got to stop, who you're going to stop with, etc., and got it right, I suppose you can say. And then yeah, just ran the top. And once I sort of got to lead, my plan was just going to run the top all the way because I knew it was faster. And if you go down, they just go around you. So I thought I'll just hold that top all the way until someone goes low. Then I'll just block the low. Just so happened to sort of work in my favour and yeah, cruise on through to victory.
Yeah, a big wreck behind you that took out a few of the guys, but nonetheless, mate, you make your own luck here on the super speedways. You covered off what I was going to ask you about the stage racing, but I will ask you, because I know you won't lie to me, how much short on that fuel were you in that second stage?
No, I counted for a green white checker, so I was I think when I checked it with, I think it was 10 laps to go, I had 12 laps, so I had an extra couple of laps, so I was good.
Very good. All right, mate. Well, Darlington next week, love it or hate it?
Well, I don't know. It's hit and miss, mate. It's 50-50.
I know every time I hit Darlington, I end up in the wall very quickly, so
That'll
I hate the
happen for
joint.
sure, mate. That'll happen for sure.
Well, mate, before we let you go, shout out to the sponsors and supporters.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, ANZCAR first and foremost, and it's good to see them just changing it up a bit, having that stage racing. That's I think that's a very big positive. So well done to you guys. Obviously putting on the broadcast as well, and Mark and Carl. Hopefully that was entertaining because man, that was some fun behind the wheel. And yeah, just shout out to all the guys that come out and race and give us a chance to go racing, and my son Gene the Green Machine.
Absolutely, he was supporting you heavily tonight in the chat.
That's my boy, baby. That's why I love him, mate. Wish he'd come out more often. I might win more.
Definitely.
Dirty dog.
Well, mate, we've opened up the cup round. You've done well. Some good stage points and a couple of bonus points and a race win. So the season's off to a good start for you.
Yeah, a couple of stage points there. Yeah, buddy oath. It's good. We'll see what happens, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. All right, mate. We'll see you next week at Darlington. And thanks very much for your time tonight. And again, congratulations on a great race win.
Yeah, cheers, boys. I should shout out Riley too. I forgot to shout out my teammate. So Riley and A1 Sinsport. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
That's right. You've got to drive for next week now.
Yeah, sacked.
All right, mate. Thanks for your time tonight, and we'll see you next week.
All right, I love you. This bite.
Right. Well, there you go. 3 very happy drivers to open the account for the Cup cars.
Absolutely fantastic racing out there tonight, and well, you've got to say the stage has proved to be a very successful little entry into the series. Let's see how it goes next week at Darlington, of course. We hope we can see you all there as well. Looking forward to that one, and off to one of the shorter tracks of the series, and that's going to bring some entertaining racing and, well, a very different style of racing with the stages in there. Of course, if you're looking to get out on track as well, Monday night, we will be back with the lightning rounds. The Gen 4 is currently out on track, bringing us some great action with all of its horsepower underneath it and, well, very little grip. It's going to be heading off to Fontana Auto Club next time out. So if you want to have a bit of a drive, head out on Monday night for that one. Otherwise, we will see you back here next week for racing at Darlington. A big thank you to all of you for joining us tonight for viewing. Of course, a big thank you to all the drivers, everybody out there, and as well, a massive thank you, of course, to Mr. Mark Johansson for joining me up here in the booth tonight. I'm, of course, Mr. Carl Wilkinson with you, and we will see you all again very soon next week at Darlington. Thank you and good night.